Then Mr. Arjun Das, Mr. Aditya Sharma, Mr. Yeah, thank you. Then Mr. Zelto. Scrubbers in this section, or would you like to go in for NX5? Choice is yours. Has any one of you sailed on the vessels with scrubbers? Any one of you have sailed on the vessels which have been fitted with the scrubber? Mr. Rahul Nakre, thank you. Would you please switch on your mic and video also if you want to? I mean, like, it's up to you. Would you please share your experience as to was the installation done at your time, and how was it running the vessel with the scrubber? Any problems that you faced, etc., etc.?
So I was there for the installation itself, and then I sailed with the vessel for 1 month after that. In that 1 month, we did not face any major problem, but the system there means it was an open loop type system. So the all the effluent was sent outside only, and it had two scrubber towers, three big seawater pumps, and then there was one dilution pump also. And the water was just from bottom, it was pumped up to the top to the lines, and then there was a return line which had got a leak detection system also, in which if there is pipe leakage or scrubber is leaking, then a separate tank will get filled, and it will trip the seawater pumps. So, and then there was monitoring of pH, turbidity, and PAH. And these all things were recorded. So that is how the system was working. We only had one problem during rolling. The scrubbing water was overflowing into the leak off side. That's why at that time the pumps had tripped. But otherwise, and there was one small leakage due to improper workmanship in China. That one scrubber, the one sensor for the outlet sensor for pH, it started that fitting started leaking. So these were the minor problems faced. But later on, I heard there was problem with the expansion bellows which are fitted in the exhaust side. Those were giving up in very short duration of time. Hello.
Anything regarding record keeping and all?
Record keeping we have started, but it was still the date was not due. So there was a complete logbook for it, record logbook. All the values that I told you, recording the flow rate, the pH value of incoming, that is inflow of seawater, that their pH and turbidity was measured, and at the outlet, the where it was discharged outside overboard, so pH, PAH, and turbidity was recorded. And then then there was maintenance like monthly calibration, then annual calibration. There are different test gases also provided.
Yeah, this is very important because this is again NPDES requirement as per
Yes.
the use laws. That's so good. Thank you, sir, for sharing these. I'm sure people will find this information handy. And also, while I'm discussing scrubber, if you feel you can add a point or two, I would appreciate in between. I would stop and then you can in between also chip in your points.
Yeah, sure, sir, sure.
So let's begin with the uh, scrubbers then in this session. So scrubbers, as you know, is largely referred to as the exhaust gas cleaning system. That is EGCS, exhaust gas cleaning system. Okay. Now, just a minute, let me pull the PPT out so it becomes easy for you to. Okay. Are you able to cite this on your screens? Kindly confirm. Thank you. So let us first do one thing. Just can you see on the aft side of this vessel, a scrubber unit has been installed. This is how a retrofit scrubber looks like. A huge installation on the aft side. I will even care to show you some of the pictures. Okay, can you see here on the screen? So those of you who haven't seen the scrubber, the retrofit scrubbers much looks like this. You can easily see AE inlet going, that means the exhaust from the AE side, exhaust from the main engine side all going to one scrubber unit and scrubbing action happening and the treated clean gas coming out. With boiler also going inside. So can you see this? This it is not pure SOX. Pure is the brand name of the scrubber. Don't think it is a pure SOX or something. Okay. So I hope now you are familiar with the look, how it would look externally. Can you please confirm? Good. So let us now have a look at scrubbers and one by one we shall try to understand things. So exhaust gas cleaning system is one of the possible option to comply with the 2020 global sulfur regulation. So 2020 global sulfur cap is what? 0.5% sulfur by weight is to be used on the fuel that has to be used on the ships all over the world, except for the ECA areas where for the compliance you need to burn the fuel of 0.1% sulfur. So this is the global cap on the sulfur. This is the ECA area sulfur cap. Is that clear? Good. So, okay, are you aware of, that I'll talk about a little later. Scrubber is a device installed in the exhaust system after the engine or the boiler that treats the exhaust gas. Actually, the name suggests scrub. Scrub means to clean, isn't it? So it is basically cleaning the exhaust gas. It treats the exhaust gas with a variety of substance. That substance could be seawater, can be used for the purpose of cleaning, or chemically treated fresh water. Now the term chemically treated fresh water, why? And then dry substances. Okay. See, once you are using the seawater for the purpose of cleaning, seawater can be discharged ashore after complying with the MARPOL regulations. However, if you use fresh water, you cannot just clean it once and throw it out, isn't it? Fresh water comes at a cost. So you would rather try to use it in many cycles. And see, exhaust gases are corrosive in nature. We all know that. So the acidity of the clean water or the fresh water that you are using for scrubbing, once they come in contact with the exhaust gases after scrubbing, they will get acidic in nature. So we need to bring down the acidity, or we need to add alkalines into it, that is why you would be adding chemical to make it alkaline or to bring down the acidity of the clean water or the fresh water, so that we can use it over and over again for a number of cycles before it becomes so much contaminated that we need to discharge it ashore. Clear? You understand why chemically treated fresh water now? Please confirm. Okay. The goal of removing most of the SOx from the exhaust and reducing particulate matter. This is the essence of fitting exhaust gas scrubber or the so-called exhaust gas cleaning system. What we want to bring down from the exhaust, we want to clean the SOx, that is the sulfur dioxide and trioxides, and the particulate matter that is coming out of the exhaust. All these scrubber technologies create a waste stream containing the substance used for the cleaning purpose, plus the SOx and particulate matter which has been removed from the exhaust. So while the exhaust gas is cleaned, but a stream of a waste is generated, which, so when if you let us say you are using seawater to clean, so seawater will be mixed with the SOx and particulate matter, and then so this will comprise the waste stream. So as and when I show you how this waste stream is generated and where you would come to, you'll get a more clarity on it in the subsequent, as you proceed in the subsequent slides. The wastewater stream and generated sludge has to be processed. So we just cannot throw out this wastewater stream that is generated out of the scrubbers into the sea. There is an IMO regulation or IMO guidelines that we need to adhere to before we can actually discharge this waste stream overboard. Is that clear? Okay. Or what we can do is we can discharge it to the shore reception facilities, which of course comes at a cost. Now, this is the scrubber installation in progress. Let us now see different type of scrubbers. A scrubber may either be a wet scrubber or a dry type of scrubber. The dry type of scrubbers are seldom used in marine industry. You will not find any of the ships which have so far been fitted with a dry scrubber. However, for the purpose of cleaning in the dry scrubbers, we use lime granulates. We use the granulates of the lime. Okay, but these are seldom used because we need to have a separate storage tank for these lime granulates, and then we need to discharge it ashore. So a lot of complications are there involved with it, and these are then not preferred. However, just a second. Wet type of the scrubbers are generally of two types. One is the open loop scrubbers and another is the closed loop scrubber. Open loop scrubbers generally use the seawater for the purpose of cleaning the exhaust gases, whereas the closed loop scrubber generally use the chemically treated fresh water for the purpose of cleaning the exhaust gases. Hybrid scrubbers is also one category which can be said to be wet type of scrubbers. Herein, both the options are available to you. You can either use seawater for cleaning or you can use fresh water for cleaning. That means on a click of a button, you can switch between the open loop system and the closed loop system. Just at a click of a button. Is that clear? That is why they are called as the hybrid combined. Now, why these hybrid type of scrubbers are most popular option these days? Because lot of countries, they have now formulated a local ruling that in their coastal waters you cannot discharge the effluents or the waste stream emanating out of the scrubbers. So let us say while at high seas you can use the open loop scrubbing system and you can discharge the seawater in compliance with the IMO regulation. The waste stream can be discharged. But when you come to their territorial waters of such states which have banned the discharge of the scrubbers, in those times you can, on a click of a button, switch over to from the seawater to the closed loop system, wherein you can use the fresh water over and over again for the purpose of cleaning, and you can store it in the tanks. So till such time you are in the restricted waters, you can continue using the scrubber in the closed loop system. But when you come out of the restricted waters and in the high seas, you can switch back from closed loop to the open loop system. Is this clear to you? Good. So just a short brief on the dry type of scrubbers. Although they have not a single scrubber has been installed on the ship so far, but lest you may come across it, so we'll just cover this slightly. Dry scrubbers do not use water or any liquid to carry out the scrubbing or the cleaning process. It exposes hydrated lime treated granulates to the exhaust gas. That means granulates are in one place and exhaust gas is made to pass through these granulates. Okay, to treat the chemical reaction that removes the SOx compounds. The exhaust does not pass through the water. Since it is no water cleaning is done, that means exhaust will not get cooled down. Do you agree? In wet type of scrubbers, since it is done by the using the water, obviously exhaust gas which is going out, it will be cooled also. Do you agree with me? But in dry type of scrubbers, cooling will not be there. That means we can fit the scrubber even before the exhaust gas economizer in the exhaust piping system. So that is the only advantage, that it gives the flexibility of fitting a scrubber wherever you want to in the exhaust uh, system. So dry scrubber can be placed before an exhaust gas economizer or used in conjunction with the SCR units, that is for the NOx control. Now this typically require exhaust gas temperatures. This is another problem with the open loop scrubbers, that it requires the ship's exhaust temperatures to be above 350 degrees centigrade, because it utilizes some catalyst and that catalyst work best at and above 350 degree centigrade. Is this part so far clear? Please confirm. Yeah. So just a small picture of this scrubber. This is dry type of scrubber. You can see land granulated. This is the silo or the container. Here the whole over the granules of the lime are there. Uh, Exhaust gas comes through here. Via three-way valve, it is directed into the scrubber, and the exhaust gas is made to pass through these baffles so that the exhaust gas can be exposed to these granulates with a large surface area, and then this exhaust gas goes out. Here you will see on the discharge side a small draft fan is fitted, the main purpose of which is the main purpose of this, can you see? There is one three-way valve and there is one draft fan. So since this exhaust gas passes through so many narrow spaces of lime granulate silo, there is a back pressure that comes in the exhaust gas system, and this would adversely affect the turbocharger's proper functioning. So for that purpose, they generally fit this draft fan, as you can see here. Exhaust fan or the extractor fan for the exhaust gases. This reduces the back pressure. In case the scrubber is to be put out of use, you can easily change the position of this three-way valve so that exhaust can go directly overboard. Further, you will see that the waste stream, whatever is there of the granulate silo, that is also being generated. Once this granulate silo is used, it has to be stored. So we need to have so many tanks for the fresh granulate silo lime and for the stored and all that kind of stuff, and that is why it is not often used on the ships. Now talking of the wet type of scrubbers, the exhaust gas passes through a liquid medium in order to remove the SOx compounds from gas by chemically reacting with the parts of the wash liquid. System can either be the open loop, which is the fresh water, or the closed loop, which is the okay. Now, hybrid systems offer both methods of the scrubbing. The most common liquids are untreated seawater and chemically treated fresh water. So SOx reaction in the scrubber would be that SOx, when it comes into contact with the water, forms the sulfurous acid, which is corrosive in nature, which then further reacts with water to form sulfuric acid. So this is how a wet type of scrubber looks like from inside. You will see that the exhaust gases, they pass through from here, that is the lower end, and after getting cleaned, the exhaust gases pass on from the top. Okay, so here what you are seeing, these are the seawater pipelines which have got nozzles attached to it. So these nozzles are continuously spraying the water, and the exhaust gas is being passed from bottom. What is this? This is actually a packed material. It's just the purpose of this is to increase the mixing of water with the air. The more exhaust gas will come in contact with the water, the more will it get clean. Do you agree with me? So the gas is going to pass from the bottom through the packed material. So packed material just, what does it do? It just distributes the gas in various regions, and then it is passed on. The clean gas is passed on, and what you are seeing here is a demister. So far, so good. What is there on the top? Is the mist eliminator? I think now the structure is pretty clear to you. If it is, then just type in OK. Now, an open loop arrangement scrubs the exhaust gas directly with the seawater when and is then legally discharged as per the regulations into the sea. Now, if it is an open loop system, you see only what you are using is seawater for the purpose of cleaning. Obviously, the cost is less. Operating cost of running such a scrubber is going to be less. This involves the least amount of equipment, which means lower investment cost and simpler installation. Likewise, it would also mean lowest possible operating cost since there are no consumables involved. However, an open loop scrubber system may not perform. This is the limitation of the open loop scrubber system, that it may not perform adequately in the waters which are high in acidity or which have low alkalinity content. See, try and understand. The seawater is being pumped in to the scrubbers, cleaning is being carried out, and then the seawater will be thrown out. Now, if the incoming seawater itself is more acidic, what cleaning will it carry out? Because it will combine with the sulfuric acid of the exhaust gas, and more and more, and its efficiency, its cleaning efficiency will go down. Okay. Moreover, you will see that open loop scrubbers are largely disencouraged by the countries. So far, any question? If no question, just type in NQ. So this is how an open loop scrubber would exactly look like. The seawater will be, okay, let me use another color. The seawater would be pumped in, and from here to the nozzles it will be sprayed into the scrubber. A waste stream what is there will be, if required, it will be treated. Otherwise it can be, if it is complying with the regulations, then it can be thrown out into the seawater back. So exhaust gases which are clean, they will be coming from here. Exhaust gases from the engine, from the main setup will be coming from the bottom and will pass through the bottom. Please confirm if open loop structure is pretty clear to you. So you can easily see here the nozzles are there for the purpose of spraying the seawater. Then demister is there on the top. Exhaust gas comes, it is cleaned in the process, and the clean exhaust gas goes up.
So I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
So this is the same working principle of the inert gas system. So
Of
in
course.
reality, what will be the gas which will be going out will be inert gas. Is that correct? Just without the sulfur dioxide.
Yes.
Okay.
Our purpose is to remove sulfur dioxide and particulate matter, isn't it? Okay. Let us now look at the wet type of scrubbers. Open loop. There is an issue with the open loop scrubbers. If the seawater itself is less alkaline, as is the case when you are operating the vessel in the Baltic Sea, then the efficiency of this type of scrubber largely comes down. So what is the solution? So what we do, in the Baltic Sea, if you go towards north, you will see that the acidity increases or alkalinity decreases. Okay, so the solution lies in, let us say, either you can switch over to the compliant fuel, that is 0.5% sulfur, and put the scrubber out of use. Or if you wish to use a scrubber, then it would largely depend upon, just a second. Okay, now the alternative that is available to us is that if the vessel is regularly operating in the Baltic Sea, then it would make sense to put the oversized scrubber. You know, the scrubbing action is by the water. If more abundant water is available to clean the exhaust gases, then a better cleaning could be possible. So that is why if the vessel is largely to operate in the Baltic Sea, then it would make sense to put a scrubber which is an oversize or which can handle, which has a larger capacity than what is required. Understood? In fact, the cost of low sulfur fuel is too high, and if you are installing a scrubber, they say that the whole cost of fitment of the scrubber can be recovered in within 1 year of the operation of the vessel. So you can see largely that is why owners have gone in for using these scrubbers. Is that clear? Any owner would be compelled to use these scrubbers because of their cost effectiveness. Now, let us now talk about the other type of wet scrubber, that is the closed loop scrubber. The performance and discharge issues which are associated with the open loop scrubber, that means the use of the open loop scrubber is limited by the seawater, outside seawater, which is available for cleaning. But when you are using fresh water in a closed loop system, then this issue is no longer there. So in a closed loop scrubbing, the scrubber water is dosed with an alkaline additive, which is usually caustic soda, and it is recirculated. The fresh water is recirculated over and over again. So as and when the fresh water starts to become acidic, more and more amount of caustic soda dosage increases. So this is being recirculated. Obviously, you are using fresh water which comes at a cost, and then you are also using the alkaline additive in the form of caustic soda, which also comes at a cost. So can I say that the closed loop scrubbers obviously are going to be, operation cost is going to be more as compared to the open loop scrubbers. Do you agree with me? Okay. So the advantage is that you may not need to discharge this fresh water, as it can be used over and over again for a period of time till such time it becomes useless. At that time you can then treat it and then throw it off in the uh, at sea. Clear? So recirculation leads to a buildup of impurities and diminishes the scrubbing effect. So to counter this, a portion of circulation water is periodically cleaned and discharged and can be replaced or replenished with a desalinated fresh water to retain the capacity of the scrubber. This is how a closed loop scrubber would look like. You can see the seawater simply comes in, cools the fresh water and goes out. Whereas the fresh water is continuously circulated, it gets cooled, it is here sprayed from the nozzles, cleans the gases, is taken into the process tank. So this processing tank also has got a freshwater addition point. If any freshwater needs to be replenished, it can be replenished here. Else it can go on recirculating, and then of course amount of alkali is dosed into it. So this goes on and on and on till such time impurities build up to a level that you can no longer use this water. Then you can head it to the water treatment unit where it can be treated and then made fit to be discharged ashore or discharged to the sea, or you can even land it ashore to the shore reception facility. So this closed loop scrubber is clear to you? Hybrid scrubbers offers you an arrangement which is an ideal compromise between the cost efficiency open loop scrubbing, which can be done at high seas, and operational security of the closed loop scrubber, which you can of course do it where in the restricted waters of the ports. That is why you largely see that hybrid scrubbers are very popular. In a hybrid scrubber system, both open and closed system modes are available, ideal at a push of a button. Simply put, a hybrid system operates in open loop mode whenever possible, which reduces the operating cost. Okay. Now let us study what is the environmental impact of this scrubbing systems or the exhaust gas cleaning system or the scrubber vis-a-vis or against the use of low sulfur fuel. Okay, now marine SOx scrubbers are generally of the wet type. This means they scrub the exhaust gas either by seawater or with a desalinated fresh water, then alkaline additive. In the process, SOx is first dissolved and ionized. Then oxidized into sulfates. So the end product that is formed is a sulfate. Okay. Now this, you can see SOx is first dissolved and ionized and then oxidized and finally into the sulfates. So end products are actually the sulfates. So these sulfates are a natural part of both the seawater and the aquatic organisms. That means for the seawater flora and fauna, for the seawater plants and animals, sulfates form an integral body part only. This means that they are harmless to the environment. Hence, they can be discharged ashore. Not a problem. So discharge problem is sorted out. Clear? So only thing is that what we have to monitor, maybe that the water which we are discharging is not much acidic, isn't it? Do you agree with me? Okay. Now, in the refineries, what we do, whatever fuel oil is available, heavy fuel oil is available, reserves, it has got lot of sulfur. This sulfur is to be removed in the large refineries. And in the refineries, again, we are burning fuel. So we burn fuel and then we reduce or remove the sulfur from it. We make it 0.5% sulfur fuel and then send it to the ships. Do you agree? Yes or no? So this desulfurization of heavy fuel oil is very energy intensive process and lot of fuel is consumed. Now consuming the fuel in the refineries to bring down the sulfur content would again increase the discharge of CO2 into the atmosphere. Do you agree? Just a second. Okay. इसको ये रख दो और हाथ दो Okay. So you can see that again it is contributing to increase in CO2. So even low sulfur fuel causes harm to the environment. But the use of this scrubbers, this process is all not required. You can directly use the high sulfur fuel, use it in the scrubbers, which then would at least reduce the CO2 emissions. So it is a win-win situation environment wise and cost wise. Do you agree with me? Very good. Okay, let us now just see a few things regarding scrubbers. When we are using the scrubbers, some additional things are also to be fitted. So dry scrubbers may not need a lot of handling space for storing lime and gypsum, so they are not preferred. Lower portion of the wet scrubbers are having corrosive acids, particularly from where the effluents are discharged. The waste stream is discharged. Those portions, they are handling highly corrosive acids, isn't it? And chlorides. So they may get wasted away very quickly. That is why a special class approved duplex stainless steel material is to be used. In some ships, the stub pieces on the overboard side valve they gave away and a lot of water came inside. So a lot of these things can happen. To prevent this, you will see that the exhaust side, that this effluent side, uh, stainless duplex steel material is specifically used as a pipeline and for handling these. Scrubbers may need a bypass arrangement to exhaust gases for the period for which scrubber is not in use. So if you are not using scrubber, let us say you have changed over from the scrubber to the compliant fuel. Like suppose you go in California. In California, they say even if your scrubber is good, you cannot use the scrubbers. So they have banned the use of scrubbers only. Forget about banning the waste stream. They have banned the use of scrubbers only. California. So you have to be on the compliant fuel. So if you are on the compliant fuel, then there is no need to pass it through scrubbers. In that case, you need to have a bypass arrangement. I had shown you a three-way valve at the inlet side that is being used for the bypass. Extraction fan may be needed to reduce the back pressure, as I told you, on the engine due to scrubber if multiple engines are connected to a scrubber. Scrubber wash water pumps, additional pipeline system, seawater pumps will be required and energy consumption will be there. For that, maybe additional generator is required or a higher capacity generator may be required to be installed. So these are a few things which a scrubber would need. Is this part clear to you so far? If it is, please confirm okay. Please confirm okay. Is it getting too boring? Or are you understanding things? Is it getting too boring? Let me know. Okay, I'll continue. May I please ask all of you to switch on your cameras once so that I can take a screenshot. See, I know there are many people from different countries who are attending this course. So in case you find I am going too fast, please do tell me. If you are not understanding anything, I will repeat the thing. But idea is that all of you who are attending here should be able to grasp whatever is being conveyed in the class. ये देखना, ये देखना होगा. Okay, you can switch off your cameras now. We will now be talking about the regulatory requirements that govern the waste stream. There was a waste stream which we had discussed in the scrubbers. So before we can dump it into the sea, we need to know what all regulatory requirements are there. IMO will not leave us, isn't it, if we dump it. Similarly, how can we say that the discharge, whatever is going out of the scrubber, that is equivalent to or that is as clean as the low sulfur fuel discharge or 0.5% fuel discharge? There has to be some parameter which is governing that. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? We can only compare two things if there is some parameter which says that okay, this is a discharge from the low sulfur 0.5% sulfur fuel, and if your scrubber is cleaning the exhaust gas and you are claiming that it is cleaning, so your parameter should be at least so much equivalent. Then only can we say that yes, your scrubber is as good as the use of the low sulfur fuel. So what is that parameter? Any idea? What is that parameter?
The alkalinity of water, the turbidity of water, and the
See,
pH value.
okay, these are the parameters which are governing the discharge of the waste stream that is going into the water. But my question is, I'm talking about the clean air. How can you say that the air which is emanating out from the scrubber is as clean as that of the low sulfur fuel?
So the gas going out is monitored. The SOx percentage is measured. Even CO2 percentage is measured, and then ratio between CO2 to SO2 is also calculated. And
Very, very good, very good. Exactly that is the point. So let us have a look at what is that ratio first. Okay. So let us move on to that ratio first and then we will see. Okay. Now can you see here a 0.5% for sulfur fuel, the ratio of SO2 to CO2 is about 21.7. So our scrubber should deliver less than this much or at least less than this, isn't it? Similarly, this SO2 to CO2 ratio for a 0.1% sulfur fuel is about 4.3%, is about 4.3 maximum, this ratio. So our scrubber, when we are in the ECA area, should be emanating the exhaust gases which are at least of the ratio, at most of the ratio 4.3 or less. Is this clear to you? Then only can we say that our scrubber is as good as the low sulfur fuel. So this is what is being monitored on the air side. Clear? And on the waste stream side, we need to check the acidity. So pH value we will be checking. We need to check the pH value and turbidity. We will come back to this part when I explain you in detail about this. Okay. Now, the scrubbers that are installed on the ship, they can either be of scheme A type or scheme B type. So when you go on the ship, have a look at a certificate of that, and you will be able to see whether it is a scheme A type of a scrubber or scheme B type of a scrubber. Scheme A type of a scrubber is the one in which there is unit certification, that is unit is certified with parameter and emission checks. That means the unit is certified by the administration as fit for use, but you have to monitor the parameters and the emissions. Clear? And this you have to do manually. However, the scheme B type of scrubbers is the one in which continuous emission monitoring with parameter checks is there. That means automatic monitoring of the emissions and the parameters is available there continuously on the screen. So such type of scrubbers are most popular and they are generally installed, and you will see that they are coming under the category scheme B. Okay. Now scheme A and scheme B, more or less documentation part is same. You will have a SOX emission compliance plan which will be there in scheme A, but for scheme B it will have a different plan. Similarly, you will see that the exhaust gas cleaning system technical manual will be different for scheme A and scheme B. Then operating maintenance manual will also be different for scheme A and scheme B. And then of course, exhaust gas record book also needs to be there. So exhaust gas SOX emission compliance plan has to be there on the ship. So you will see documentation part. This is there between scheme A and scheme B. Now, for all the ships which use an exhaust gas cleaning unit or the scrubber unit, there should be an this SOX or the sulfur emission compliance plan which has to be approved by the administration. So it should be class approved. The SECP should list each item of the fuel combustion equipment which is to meet the requirements. It means that in the fuel system, what all things they can affect the discharge or the functioning of the scrubber, or they may alter the SO2 to CO2 ratio, those will be listed in here in the SECP plan. The SECP should present how continuous exhaust gas emission monitoring will demonstrate the ship's SO2 to CO2 ratio and is comparable to the requirements of the MARPOL. That means continuous monitoring will be there on your screens. This is how an SECP or SOX emission compliance plan would look like. So identifying the ship first, it has to be class approved. And it will carry the following information. It would recognize the ship. It will tell what all combustion units are there which it is handling, like main engine, generator 1, 2, 3, boiler this. Then exhaust gas cleaning system configuration would be there, whether it is scheme A type, B type. Compliance principle of compliant fuel, whether the scrubber which is being fitted on board complies with the 0.5% sulfur emissions, or it can also handle the 0.1% sulfur emissions that is applicable in the ECA area. Then it will also tell there will be one declaration in this plan, exhaust gas declaration. I will show you that declaration also, and it has to be approved by the administration. So let us have a look at that declaration which is there in the exhaust gas cleaning system or the plan. Now this is a declaration which says that this scrubber can handle the mass flow capacity of the scrubber is 32.3, whereas the scrubbing, it is carrying out the scrubbing of the main engine at 80% load. Mass flow rate is only 13.5. With two auxiliary engines in operation, it is mass flow rate is only 3.55, and oil fired boiler, then it is 6.23. So if you add up all these three, the total comes to 23.27, which is less than the actual capacity of the scrubber. So exhaust gas maximum exhaust gas flow capacity is greater than or equal to the combustion units which are providing this exhaust gas. If it is more, then this declaration says yes. Is this part clear? So this you will find is there in the exhaust gas cleaning units, SECP. In the plan, this declaration will be there. Is that clear? So likewise, the parameters that you need to monitor on the air side is this, whereas on the water side you need to monitor the pH, the PAH and the turbidity. So pH value gives you an indication of acidity of the discharge, whether it is acidic, alkaline or neutral. PAH value is actually the polyacrylate hydrocarbons, wash water, whatever is going overboard. So this gives an indication. pH gives an indication of the oil sheen, whether the discharge that you are doing is capable of forming an oil sheen or not. So we have to keep it under control. Clear? Similarly, turbidity is an indication of the particulate matter, how much it is going with the waste stream or with the wash water outside. Okay? So turbidity is an indication of particulate matter going outside, and hence we need to monitor it before and after. So you will see, since the seawater is coming in, so we need to measure the parameters pH and turbidity of the incoming seawater and the outgoing. So I will show you kind of system that is being installed. Before that, let me just tell you that the maximum allowable pH value is 6.5. So you need to keep it acidic. Beyond that, you cannot go. The pH value should be 50 micrograms per liter above the inlet pH. That means we need to measure the inlet pH value, and the outlet pH value should not be exceeding more than 50 micrograms per liter of the inlet pH value. Is it clear? Turbidity, regarding turbidity, the outlet value should not exceed 25 FNU above the inlet water turbidity. That means we need to measure the inlet turbidity also and the outlet turbidity also. Is this clear? If it is clear, please type OK. Any question, any query till now? Good. So this is how your monitor would look like. This is a screenshot which has been taken from one of our vessels. In Anglo, about 43 vessels have been installed with the exhaust gas cleaning system or the scrubbing system. So you can easily see here the exhaust gases are going from the bottom, and the clean exhaust gas comes out from the top. And from this clean exhaust gas, what is being monitored? SO2, CO2, and their ratio is continuously being monitored. Clear? So far so good? Now on the water side, let us see. You will see this is the water inlet. On the inlet side, you are measuring pH, turbidity, temperature, and of course the pH value also. Then there are two seawater pumps installed. One is standby, one is in use. You also see there are n number of connections given for the nozzles, and you can see here the seawater will go and spray, and whatever effluents will come out through here. And on the outlet side also, what you are measuring is the pH value, the pH value, and the difference is also being found out. Difference is here between the incoming and the overboard values. So is this part clear? So this scrubber has a flexibility. You know, there are n number of pipelines connected. So if you see your values are not maintaining, then you can increase the flow by opening another pipeline, So that is how you can add up and increase the capacity of the scrubber. Is this part clear so far? This is the sensor which is being fitted for measure the SO2 CO2 on the funnel side. Okay. Sensors need to be calibrated from time to time as it is a requirement under NPDES. You know, BGP requirements are there which we need to specifically meet. So what you are seeing right now on the screen is the overboard line which is going. On the overboard line, a sample is being drawn by a pump which is fitted here. This pump then gives a display on the local values of FNU, of the turbidity, of the pH and pH. Okay, so far so good. Now let us see this this screen. What does it show? This is a monitor which you will see is generally there installed on the outlet side, local monitor. So it will show you the same values, SO2 to CO2. Now a lot of values are being automatically recorded. Engine load, SO2 to CO2, and then their ratio, UTC time and ship's time and position, exhaust gas cleaning, whether it is in bypass mode or in operation mode. Exhaust gas inlet outlet pressure and temperature, scrubbing water pressure and flow, seawater, wastewater monitoring, cabinet flow alarm, and then of course the pH, turbidity and the temperatures. A memory chip in the system retains the latest or the last 18 months record, just like what happens in the OWS memory chip. So far so good. Any doubt regarding this? Okay. This is the, so you have seen the SOX compliance plan. Now this is the manual for scheme B. Can you see? This is the technical manual for scheme B. Again, it is class approved. Then this is the operational maintenance manual. Again, it has to be class approved. And then of course there is this EGCS, that is exhaust gas cleaning system record book or the scrubber record book. Okay. Now regarding the maintenance of record, what records you need to keep manually. So those records so far we had talked are being automatically recorded in the system of the scheme B type. Okay. Now there is one record exhaust gas cleaning record book which you need to maintain if the unit is fitted, if your main engine is fitted with the scrubber system. So form A you will be using for the maintenance records. Use this type of record anytime for service repair adjustments done to the system according to the instructions of the technical manual. You can record it here. But if you are making adjustments or doing maintenance as per the OMM manual, then you will have to record it in the form B of the record book. In form C, you will have to record the daily spot checks. At least once in a while you can do it, or whenever your exhaust gas cleaning system fails. If it fails, if your GPS signal is lost, then you need to record all these things. Otherwise, the data is recorded automatically all the time. You may just record it at least once in the record book in 24 hours. Otherwise. Then, whenever you land ashore, these samples. So use this form to record the lab results as well as normalized values for nitrate. So whenever you're landing ashore for getting nitrate values, that time you can of course record it here in the form D. Form E is operation recording. This form is for to keep daily log of operating parameters. Reading is to be taken at least once a day, like outlet temperature, inlet pressure, pressure drop across the scrubber, then the load of the main engine generator and the boilers, inlet pH, flow pressure, and then these things are to be recorded. For using scrubber in US ECA area, for the first time, USCG is to be informed. Now this is important. If the vessel is going for the first time in the US waters, then you will have to inform the US ECA area, US ECA, Environmental Compliance Agency, that you are using these scrubbers. And whatever acknowledgement they give, you will keep it written on board. Avoid using the scrubber in US. That is the government, that is our company what it says, because there are different states in US and they have different compliances. So as much as possible, be on the compliant fuel rather than the scrubbers in the US waters. In California, as I told you, they have banned the use of scrubbers. You cannot use them. You have to use the the compliant fuel only. And then of course when you go on the shore, you will have to go on the shore power. Other continuously monitoring parameters is required. So this was specifically for the, now what will happen if a scrubber fails? If a scrubber fails, you will have to rectify the fault within 1 hour and keep it in use. Else you will have to change over to the compliant fuel. Our company's standing orders are, in general standing instructions are that you should carry at least 3 days of compliant fuel in your tanks. Lest may this scrubber fail, at least you can change over to the compliant fuel and you can use it till such time the problem is sorted out, or till such time more fuel can be supplied to the vessel. And this failure is also to be recorded in the record book of the EGCS. Is that clear? So if the ship does not have compliant fuel and the scrubber fails, then you will have to take flag dispensation. You will have to inform to all the authorities, and that of course should be done by the office on their side. Is this clear? So check for the MARPOL documents. That means you should have ETA, ETV or OMM manual. While I told you MEPC requirements are there with respect to the calibrations of the scrubbers, failures of these are to be monitored. So I hope this sums up your scrubbing system. Any queries, any questions that you have, I can take it now. If none, then please type in no questions. Good. So I think it's time we can break away for lunch, and I guess 14:30 will be ideal to get back. 14:30 IST.